And welcome to another episode of the Sloppy Syndicate. This is your host, White Trash Donnie, and we have none other than Take the Name in the studio today. We will bring them in shortly. If you like if you like genres such as not genres, but if you like bands such as A Day to Remember, um, Sleeping with Sirens, this will be the band right up your alley. So they were actually formerly Violent Nine before they rebranded into Take the Name, and let's get to know them a little bit further and see what they have to say. All right, how we doing? So we have Tyler and Keith from the band.
Yep.
All right, so Tyler is vocals. Keith is the drummer. So kind of run us through how you got started in the band. You were formerly Violent Nine, if I'm correct, and kind of went to take the name. What was the purpose of, say, the rebrand?
Hit it, Keith. Go for it.
So basically, we kind of got a cease and desist letter in the mail that basically said, "Hey, you guys are stealing our name, so change it, or we're gonna see in court." So we pretty much had no option to quickly change the name of our band without delaying stuff like single releases and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's the truth. We were called Violet Nine, so I'm the original member from that whole thing. So we had all other members prior to that, and we were Violet Nine up until last year around like May or June, and then we got hit with that cease and desist. So we went back and forth with can we coexist, et cetera, et cetera. They said no. So we said, okay, that's cool. So now we're called Take the Name. And we were kind of worried at first that people aren't going to understand, and a band like us, like how are we going to rebrand and have everybody come and know about this? We've been releasing music for 3 years, and actually we've gotten nothing but support and positive feedback. And I think people actually like this name better. And now I do. At first I was like, no, that's the name I came up with, but now I'm sold on it. That's pretty much how that went down last year.
I would say I like the name a little bit better myself. Take the Name. It kind of stands out more.
I think so too. Thank you.
And it kind of it goes. I don't know. It just when you hear certain bands and the name, it just goes together. Like spaghetti and or what is it? What do they say in the movie? A tuna and a meatball.
Yeah.
So it just goes together. So yeah, you have singles released all the way back from 2018. So No Tears Left to Cry was a single in 2018. One of my top songs from Take the Name. And then you have 2019, you released Trials and Miles Away. 2020, you had 4 songs, Fever Dreams, um, Change in Plans, top songs there. And then 2021, Grenade is phenomenal. And then you did a cover of, going back 2020, Dear Maria, you did a cover. So you did an excellent cover on Dear Maria.
Thank you.
And so let's talk about the newest single, Save Myself from Myself. And what is, run us through the process, how you started. Did you start with the riffs first? Did you start with vocals? How did you form such a banger of a song?
Banger. Thank you for calling it a banger. Keith, you can take that if you want.
Well, we had a skeleton of the song down first, which we typically do for many of our singles, and then we brought that to the studio, and it kind of just developed on its own as we were all in the studio together. We had the song on repeat, kept jamming to it, and then we built the vocals off of that, and so forth. So it was kind of just a big collab at the studio.
Yeah, the cool thing about this song too is since our band is new members too, as opposed to Violet Nine as well. So the writing process is definitely different than what it was in the past, and we all collectively have different influences of music. And this song, we wanted it to be different than the EP for what it's worth. We wanted to follow it up in a different way, and we wanted to incorporate more alternative pop elements into the music. And I think the cool thing about the song is it has all that, but we maintained and kept those edgy guitars that really cut and punch through the mix. And I think that's what gives us a little more distinction from your like pop punk music, is that those heavy guitars in the song. And overall, it's just I love the song. So thank you so much for saying that. You do as well. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's definitely a top of all the songs. That and Grenade, and yeah. So trying to describe your sound is quite difficult because there are some songs that are a little bit lower, kind of like punk rockish, and then you have some songs that are a little bit heavier, like A Day to Remember. Um, so kind of tell us about your style and where your influence in music and what you know um, who influenced you and what would we if we didn't listen to you, what would we expect you to sound like, if that makes sense. I tongue
Yeah.
twisted myself on that, so
Okay. I guess I can start with that. So for our band, I know we're all influenced by different people and different artists, which it's a really good thing to be influenced by other people rather than we all like the same things. Everything just kind of sounds the same. But for me, growing up, I'm like the 3 Days Grace kind of guy. That's me. So I think songs like Crash and Burn and Change in Plans have more of that edge to it. But the one thing that I always pulled from those bands, especially for 3 Days Grace for me, is they're always about the hook and the chorus. And that's the one thing about our music that I think we do very well on, is having those catchy choruses, and that's the biggest thing for us. So that's what influences me music wise. I'm also into a lot of punk rock and emo music as well. Like I lately have been really getting into the Dying Is Your Latest Fashion album again from Escape the Fate, and I think that really shows and pulls for the kind of music we're doing now, and some other things like that. So that's where I stand for the influence for the band.
Mhm.
and
What about
and anything who has influenced you, Keith?
For me, I like some of the heavy stuff as well. A Day to Remember, Beartooth, Old Sleeping with Sirens, bands like that. But for me, I'm leaning more towards pop punk, like Neck Deep, The Story So Far, State Champs, Stan Atlantic, stuff like that. So I think we have just a big mesh of those sounds together.
Mhm.
I
And
So
would
as far
agree.
as Nick goes, I don't even know what he listens to sometimes.
who Nick?
Yeah.
He
We're
likes the heavy stuff too.
Yeah, he does, but we'll be in the car on tour and he'll go from this really heavy song to this like elevator
Yeah,
song.
he
Yeah,
likes funk. He likes
yeah.
funk music and laid back stuff like that. He's a bass player, so he's
Okay,
got
makes sense, right?
His bass riffs though are sick. I'm like, what are you
yeah.
doing? That's awesome. Like now I know where you get that from.
And you guys have, the band has had some huge success. Um, you know, just looking at the sheer numbers of plays and things like that. You're well established. And so, what are some of the plans? You have a new song coming out, 429, which is called Low. So,
Mhm.
if you want to talk about that, and then what are some of the plans for this year? A tour, headline tour, anything that we can expect from Take the Name?
As far as the new single for Low, so what I would say is, without giving away too much, so you guys are surprised, it's the same vein as Save Myself, but think of it as I'm not done screaming, and there's some edgier and heavier parts to it. So it's in like that same vein as Save Myself, and we're kind of shifting gears in how we write our music. I've noticed that it has a different taste to it, but it's a little edgier than Save Myself. So
Yeah,
if people also like the succubus side of things, I think they'll really like the song because it's both.
It's got a darker vibe to it, and certain parts of the song are a little bit heavier than Save Myself. So
Okay, awesome. So I'm excited because Save Myself is, like I said, a banger. So if this is a little heavier and some different riffs, yes, that's going to be right up my alley. So um, now, after you drop the single 429, what are your focuses for the remainder of the year? Do you have any tours coming up?
You want to?
Tyler, you can mention the runs that we have in June, I guess.
Okay. I always feel like I'm gonna speak over you, and I'm like, I don't know, but so we have a run for June that's tentative right now. We have some stuff in July. We do have a show at the end of this month too, in because we're from Pennsylvania, so we have a show in New Jersey, in Frenchtown with Escape the Fate and the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. So that's going to be a really cool show. So if there's anybody in the area that watches this show too and hears about that, or if you guys can come out to that, that'd be awesome. Come see us rip a really cool show with some really awesome bands that influenced us. And then I believe we are working on some stuff for later in the year too, as far as touring goes and trying to solidify the bands we're going out with. We just started working with MBK Music Group on management side of things, so we're hoping that we just keep growing from there.
Elevate it to the next level. Yeah. So,
For sure.
and you guys, like I said, you guys have all the way back from 2018, you have a huge following as it is. So I see you guys only going up from there. So we'll get into, and folks in the chat, we are streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to throw them in the chat and we'll ask the band. That makes my job a little bit easier as well. So don't hesitate to do that. So I have a random deck shuffled. So we'll go through a couple of the questions.
Okay.
And you can pass or we can answer the question. It's totally up to the band. And so the first question that popped up, what's your opinion on fans wearing a band's shirt when going to see them play?
Ooh.
Like them wearing the band that they're going to see play?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's good. I think it's great.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with it. The one time I was at a concert, I was going to see, it was in 2014. I was going to see Theory of a Dead Man at a venue by me, and I had a 3 Days Grace shirt on, and and I was actually speaking to the vocalist of Theory of a Dead Man outside, and somebody came up to me and was like, "Why are you wearing that shirt? You're not seeing them tonight." And their vocalist chimed in and was like, well, you wear a different shirt that you're going to see, and then you go to the merch table and you grab a shirt from the band that you're seeing tonight. So maybe you can loop it in like that. You show support that you're into the scene of other music, but then you come out and you buy that shirt of the band you're seeing and support them and get some merch. So I don't see an issue with it, but you can do whatever.
Yeah, and I remember my favorite shirt, and I wore the hell out of this shirt. I wore it till it had multiple holes in it. It was the Corn shirt. It was navy blue, had the silver stripe on it with the Corn, the Corn on the chest pocket. And that was I got that in 1999. I think I finally had to throw that away in 2019. So yeah, it lasted quite a few years.
A long time out of that shirt.
And I was kind of heartbroken when I had to finally let it go. But yeah, I mean, there was nothing left to it. So,
Back there,
right,
vintage.
Yeah, I didn't think of that at the time. So I was like, man, what I would do to have that shirt back. And that's what I was known for in school. Like I would always have like a Corn shirt on. So, and speaking of merch and that, where can we find some of your merch at? Do you have CDs, vinyls, anything available?
Yeah, we have an entire merchandise store. If you go on our Instagram, we have a link tree in our bio, and you can go right on there. So it has actually all links of our socials. It has the pre-save link for Low as well on there, ticket link for the Escape the Fate show, but it also does have the merch store on there too. So you guys can snag some new merch. We actually do have Low merch. We didn't post the merch drop yet, but I don't know if the merch
is on Monday, I think.
We're doing it tomorrow? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. So there is Low merch that's going to be available too. So
okay,
if anybody is wanting to support the new single, you can snag some new merch from us.
And that's the best way to support bands these days is buy merch, CDs, vinyls. Yes, I know we're in a digital era, but I myself collect vinyls, cassettes, things like that. So again, that's the best way to support the band is buying merch, CDs, whatever they have available. That goes directly to them, and they do not have to split the profits with any digital era companies such as Spotify, and they make pennies on a dollar when I stream a song or you stream a song. So anything we can do to help the band, that's the best way to do it. So, all right, next question. Do you have any other creative outlets or hobbies outside of music?
Keith, you do.
For me, I like photography and video making, so I always try to do that when I have free time outside of the music. Yeah.
I mean, for me, outside of being in the band, I also am an artist management assistant for MBK Music Group. So I do a lot of helping out with that. I really like to stay acclimated in the music scene and do things. I'm not I don't really play sports or anything like that. So I don't have any. Yeah, you're laughing. I can't play anything, but yeah, I mean, that's just what I do. I don't know. I love music. That's a big part of my life. So I
Yep,
was
I would agree. So music is very influential in my life.
yeah,
I also like, photography and working on getting the 107 license for the dronography.
Yeah.
That way I can do it commercially. Do you fly the drones or do you have
Yeah,
your 107, Keith?
I have the drone, but I have to look into that stuff because every time we're in a city, I get that restricted message that I can't take off. So I guess I got to get that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so the 107 allows you to fly commercially, and then it's just kind of it's tricky with you log in and it's like no, you can't fly here, and like
Yeah.
200 yards you can fly here. So, but awesome. So I mean that's something you and I have in common. I just upgraded some of the equipment and plan on shooting some of the shows and different things like that. So that would be another creative outlet. For myself, I also play hockey, even though I'm
Oh,
old
yeah.
and I can't skate half the rink without puffing like a dog, but I still
I
love
love
it. So,
hockey. Yeah, that's awesome.
in your experience, what is the perfect size crowd to play to?
Um, Mine personally, I think the sweet spot for me is it's not even that big, but 250 to 500
Mhm.
in a venue that holds that because it's more of an intimate feeling. It's more of an intimate show. Whereas when you get, to 1,000 plus, you don't really connect with, individuals because there's just so many people there and it's like sensory overload. I still love those shows, but for me, 250 to 500, that's what I like.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that too. The Some of the bigger venues, the fans are a little pushed back from you too, so you can't really have that interaction as you can. But the smaller shows like that, you can interact with the people. They can see you and you can see them what they're doing. But yeah, I love the intimacy too with the fans. The big. I think I played like a 1,200 cap room once. That was pretty nice. It
Yeah, I
was
can
still a
just imagine.
little bit.
Imagine going on the big stage in the stadium with 60,000 people staring at you. I think I would lose it at that moment, like
Yeah.
You know
freeze, like what do I
right.
do?
I want to get
So,
there. All you see are cell phone lights and lighters. That's what I want to see.
right. That would be awesome. And if you keep making the bangers, that's going to happen. So, folks, if you're just joining or just listening, this is Take the Name. Um, so if you have any questions, do not hesitate to throw them in there. And next question is, what show did you miss that you regret not going to? So I'm going to start. Mine was several years ago here in Orlando, and it was Avenged Sevenfold and Metallica, and it was tickets were like $220. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going. And now I look at it, I'm like, it's only $200. Like that was a banger of a concert. So that's my regret.
Mhm.
One that I have was I was at the show, but I left early because I didn't want to deal with traffic, and I wish that I didn't do that because it was Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains. I left. I forget what band played for them, and then I left because of traffic. I was younger, so I was with my dad, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to like get stuck in this stuff," so we left. But I missed those two bands, and I wish that I didn't at all.
Right.
Uh, for me, it was a Misfits concert because a
Oh,
guy
nice.
I know, he was really close with one of the guys, and they were going to go out with the band afterwards and party with them. And I skipped that show for a girl. So looking back, I wish I would have went to that instead.
Look where that got you.
Yeah.
Go
Right.
party.
It's always the women. Damn.
Yeah, and it was a good night too, so I missed out on that one. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, there's so many concerts that I've kind of skipped out on, and I like the big festivals now, like Welcome to Rockville and Incarnation. So I try to not skip the little shows. I don't want to say little shows, but the shows around, and just focus on the larger.
Hmm.
You know, you can see 60, 70 bands in 4 days versus three in one show. So.
right.
Um, but I do have a busy weekend coming up. The 22nd, I'll be in Tampa with Post Profit, Escape the Fate, and Red Jumpsuit for their show there. The 23rd, I will be with the Dev in Orlando. The 24th, I have a event at the Canna Cider Fest in Fort Pierce. And then I'm running back up for Breed, who is playing in Orlando as well. So that's my extremely busy weekend coming up after
That's
I get back from a little bit of relaxed time on the farm in Virginia. If I don't break any more bones, because I like to do, when I go in Virginia, I like to do stupid stuff
yeah.
out on the farm. So. And yeah, so what do you think is a major misconception that regular people have about musicians? They're
Mm,
party animals.
yeah,
Then I'm rich.
yeah. That we're
Yeah,
made of money, and it's all just a party. Like there's
yeah,
a lot more to it.
yeah. It absolutely is not a party. So like when you're playing a show, I think people have this conception that, oh, you're in the band, so I'm going to come there and I'm just going to party, and that's not what it is. Especially like when we're playing, like that's our job. We're working, so
Mm.
everything is being done professionally, and like we're loading in our own stuff, and we don't have the time for people to be thinking that it's anything but that and goofing off. So
Long drives because we all drive ourselves, so we don't have a driver yet. That's kind
Okay.
of tiring.
yeah,
Bad hotel rooms, poor sleep. There's a lot that goes into it, but
Yeah, so it's not the glitz and glamour you
there's
tear
parts
down
of
and
there's
and
parts of
drive.
that. But
there's parts of it, and don't get me wrong, you hear bands talk about that stuff, and it sounds like God, what they do must suck. Like that must suck to do that, but you put in all that work, and what you get at the end of the night is it's the best thing.
Right,
Hmm.
that's the reward.
Yeah,
So. But yeah, I don't know if I could be stuck in, a lot of them tour in vans, and some of them do, 14-hour road trips between shows. I think I would probably go bonkers.
Yeah.
that's
So,
long.
so how would you define success as a musician?
Mm,
That's kind of a tough one. So for me, anyway.
for me, as long as we can be on the road and I can pay all my bills from nothing other than just the music itself, I
Mhm.
would be happy with just that.
Yeah, if I can live comfortably and be able to be in a band and do what I want to do and get on tour and perform, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it has a stigmatism, that it's the glitz, the glamour, the fame. Once you start getting big, that's what everybody kind of sees. Public wise, that has not been in a band. So
Yeah,
I think everyone kind of I don't want to say stereotypes, but that's what they think every band is like. They get to do all of that. So within the band, which instrument do you think is the hardest to play? Guitar, bass, or drums? And I
Mm.
can't play any of them, so I'm not talented like that.
I mean, it sounds like when something on the drums break, that's expensive, but that doesn't really being excited about.
Money wise, the drums kind of suck the most, but
Yeah,
playing wise, I mean, I play a little bit of guitar, bass, piano, and drums. For me, it depends on the genre. If it's ripping solos through the whole thing, guitar is probably a little bit harder for me personally. But yeah, I would say guitar would be the hardest out of those.
yeah. I play guitar too. I'm not like this crazy guitarist, but I can play a little bit. But I never took drum lessons, so to me, I find it difficult like keeping that beat the entire time because when we're playing, I mean, realistically, the person that can't mess up is you, Keith. You
Yeah.
make one major mistake, it throws the whole thing
With,
off. So,
yeah, backing tracks and playing to a click. I guess if I'm off, then the whole thing just goes out the
yeah,
window.
I would say the drums too, because he's in charge of the show. I mean, you are the beat of the show. You keep that rhythm going, and he does do all the backtracks and
Okay.
stuff. So like, yeah,
Yeah, if you want to see something funny, watch me try to play guitar. It's like literally T-Rex arms. I'm like struggling to like, yeah, it looks hilarious. So
yeah.
that's a comedy bit in itself. Um, so past or present, what would one artist or one band, and this is a loaded question because there's many that I can think of myself, past or present, what band would you want to collab with or share the stage with?
Hmm.
Again, loaded question. There's probably 50 answers, but
Yeah, there's a
hot
lot.
pick.
Is honestly, I want to get up on stage with Jacoby Shattuck so bad. I want to play with Papa Roach. That band has so much energy, and they've maintained that same energy throughout the years. And that dude is an animal. Like as far as a front man goes, I look up to him a lot. He can control a whole crowd and still do it like it's nothing. He's so
And he's
good.
probably the most humble dude out there.
Mhm.
I've spoke
Oh
with
yeah.
him, and it's he doesn't know you from Adam, but he takes the time and talks to you. Where I've spoke to or tried to speak to some artists, and they're like, "Who the hell are you?" Type of deal. So definitely very humbled, and yeah, he's got that energy
He does.
since day one. So
For me, it would be Dave Grohl because he was my idol as both a drummer, a writer, and a guitar player, and a singer as well. I think he's a good singer. So just all around, I would like to collab with him and play a show together.
yeah, and it's very unfortunate what happened
Yeah.
overseas. So condolences to them. I know they are taking some time off to heal and grieve, which is expected. And but yeah, he's a very talented artist. He can play just about anything.
Mhm.
And during the shows they switch. He'll go play drums,
Yep.
and
He used to come
so
out and sing too. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
all right. So let's talk a little more about. Well, we hit um, the new song 429 that's dropping. That will be Low.
Mhm.
The newest single out now is Save Myself from Myself. Um, and what would you want your fans to know about Take the Name?
Hmm.
Know who we are. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We
People.
yeah, I mean, one thing about I mean, I guess I could speak for myself, but our band too. Um, we appreciate this so much. We appreciate that anybody would take the time to listen to our music. So thank you again for saying that you like what we do, and we're going to keep pouring all of our passion into that music. And we hope that we make a statement for you too about what we have to say, and you can resonate with us. And we hope that you stay along for our journey. And we want to play where you are. So follow us, and we hope that we can play for you one day in your town or your area, and you can come out and say hey to us. It's one thing that we want so bad. So
Absolutely, and it's going to happen. It's nice that the music scene is coming back full force. So hopefully, we'll see a lot more of Take the Name. You guys have the talent. You guys have the music. You have a catalog of a bunch of bangers. So just keep putting out what you're putting, doing what you're doing, and the success will come behind that. So. Um, Probably one of my favorite bands that I've listened to thus far, and that sang a lot because I have so many favorite tracks. So, um, yeah, if you have not heard Take the Name, go listen. Spotify, Apple Music. You can check them out on IG. What is your IG handle again?
take the name official.
Take the Name Official. Then you can get to their link tree, which will lead you to all of their music, merch, etc. So, um, on tour, how do you feel about loaning your gear to another band?
Um, I don't have anything for them to.
It's
Mike, though, that's for sure. But
it's both ways for me because being on the road a lot, it's nice to save time if you're backlining a drum kit, but at the same time, that just opens the door for more breakdowns, more things being stripped, yada yada yada. So I kind of gauge it on how the band. If it's like a real heavy hitting metal band, sometimes I won't really want to share the kit, but I kind of just go by that.
I watched that one of our shows we had. I forget what show it was, but our old drummer, he let the band before us use his kit. Like he was like, "Yeah, you guys can backline," and their drummer smacked his drums. And I remember my drummer being like, "Oh my god, dude, he's smacking that snare like he's trying to break it."
Yeah,
like pounding the hell out of those drums. So you don't know how somebody else is going to play your instrument because they plays their own way too.
I'll usually do the breakables where I'll leave all my stands up and the shells, but then they do the cymbals, the pedals, the snare, that stuff like that.
Up there and be like, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah,
right. And the stuff's not cheap, so definitely, definitely give you a little bit of anxiety or some stress there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to, you're kind of multi-genre, I would say, with your music that you have now. But if you were to write a record in the future outside of the genres that you're in now, what genre would you pick and why? Could we expect a country album from Take the Name?
I'll do it. Let's do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I like the like that Midwest emo, like the indie music.
Okay.
Like the math rock, I guess you could call it, that kind of stuff.
I would probably do like an indie record, or I mean, I have my own song that's out that's more like a pop punk thing, so I'd probably do that. But way more pop punk than like Save Myself is for our band. Like our band is edgy. Like that song is very
like pop, like almost pop music.
Yeah, like something like that. I would like to do. I'd like to sing and not use any like gritty vocals on the music. It'd be interesting to take a different approach.
Absolutely. So, all right, it's about that time. We're going to wrap up. I know you guys are extremely busy. I thank you guys for coming on the Sloppy Syndicate, getting to know you a little bit more, and letting the fans get to know a little bit more about Take the Name. So let's go ahead and drop your tags one last time. So if they have missed it, where can we find Take the Name?
So you can look us up on Facebook, Take the Name. You can go on Spotify and type that up too, and all your streaming platforms. And our Instagram is Take the Name Official. And from there, you can go on our link tree and you can pre-save the new single Low. You can get some new merch. You can watch a music video for Save Myself. We have all of our links on that link tree too. That's found in our Instagram at Take the Name Official. So thank you guys so much for everything.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks for having us as well.
It's a pleasure having you. You're welcome anytime on the show. And folks, go ahead and support Take the Name directly through their IG account. They appreciate that more than you know. And until next time, keep it sloppy, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Sloppy Syndicate.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you.